one of the best things that you can do to optimize your conversions to cause an increase in your sales is to get back to people faster. And what we know is that if you can contact a lead, so if you can engage with a lead within 5 minutes of their initial inquiry with you, you are 9 times more likely to convert them.
Welcome to the Master Dealmaker's Secrets podcast. And now, here's sales growth strategist, John Blake.
Welcome to Master Dealmaker's Secrets. I'm John Blake. This is episode 202. And today we're going to be talking about 3 ways that you can increase your sales in the next 2 weeks. So I'm sure that this will be super valuable for a lot of people out there, especially anyone that might be experiencing a slight slump, which happens from time to time. And it's often an interesting place to look to know exactly where it is that you should focus to create a quick injection of sales in your business. So speaking of quick injections of sales into your business, if you've got people that you've spoken to and you've made an offer to them and they haven't converted yet, you will no doubt have a list of those people. Most businesses do. I want you to head over to johnblakeaudio.com, and what you're going to get there is my exact system that I work with clients on to double the amount of sales that they make with their existing with their existing lead flow. And what you'll find is that if you put this into practice, this is actually one of the things that I'm going to be teaching today, but it's over at johnblakeaudio.com. So what you'll get when you go there is a PDF that has all of the word for word scripts, exactly what to say when you call, exactly what to write in your emails, and exactly what to do in terms of when to call and when to send emails over a 90-day period. If you put this into practice, you will see a bump in your sales. We're going to talk more about this because this is one of the 3 things that you can do. So it's at johnblakeaudio.com. Go grab it. You'll grab the PDF download, but what you'll also get is a 15-minute audio that walks you through exactly what to do. So go grab it, put it into practice. One of the other great things about it is that you don't have to do it yourself. It's very easy to teach to somebody else in your business to do on a regular basis, and it will give you a great return for the time and the effort that you spend on implementing it. Okay, so the 3 ways that you can increase sales in the next 2 weeks. So in business, we don't live in a perfect world, and we're not always buried in inquiry, especially if you are advertising online. The different platforms change their algorithms, and sometimes it's hard for you to catch up. Sometimes there's a lag in terms of catching up. YouTube channels get banned. Facebook accounts get disallowed and banned and cancelled. And there's all sorts of different spanners that can get thrown into the works in terms of your lead gen. And it's really not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's a matter of when. So you are going to have periods where you're going to hit a flat spot. And it can often be hard to know what to prioritize. But what I know, having worked with all sorts of businesses, especially with the ones that we really need to turn their business around in terms of revenue, is that one of the worst things that you can do is to do nothing and to wait for it to get better. And the analogy that I often use is that it's like the analogy of the farmer. You know, you're just waiting for the weather to change or for things to improve, and not taking a proactive type role in that is a recipe for disaster. So the first one is really simple, and it will make a massive difference. And the thing I love about the first one is that it takes little or no extra skill to do it. And it's simply to get back to your leads faster. Now, I could spend 5 or 6 podcast episodes talking about this. It's what we talk about in the 10-week certification, in the sales mastery certification that I'm running. We spend a entire week focused on the 7 areas that you can affect that can cause an increase in your conversion. So we spend 7 weeks doing that, and then in the last 3 weeks, I get the students to send in recordings of them, or we role play their process and we look at their end-to-end process once a lead comes into their ecosystem to them either becoming a client, being followed up, or being sold to later. So getting back to what I'm talking about, one of the best things that you can do to optimize your conversions to cause an increase in your sales is to get back to people faster. And what we know is that if you can contact a lead, so if you can engage with a lead within 5 minutes of their initial inquiry with you, you are 9 times more likely to convert them. And what we know is that after 5 minutes, your likelihood of converting them into a paying client literally goes like this. It falls off a cliff. So if you simply do that one thing, I wanted to give you some really simple things that you could do today. If you simply do that one thing, if you get back to your leads faster from their initial contact, you will have a 9 times more likelihood of converting them into a paying client. Now, what's the best way to do that? Well, the best way is initially to call them. What's interesting is that when you call somebody, there's an 80% chance at the moment that they won't answer the phone. So we need to have other ways of engaging them. So we need to use other media. We might use Facebook Messenger. We might use text, and we certainly will make use of email as well. So we need to make use of that media and do as much as we can to engage that person. And there's all sorts of different nuances in terms of messaging, which I haven't got time for today. We certainly cover off on it in the 10-week sales certification. But like I said, if you simply do that one thing, if you just contact people faster, you are 9 times more likely to be able to convert them. Because as I said, after that 5-minute mark, the conversion simply drops off a cliff, and it's crazy. It's unbelievable how much leads atrophy. It's almost like the analogy of leaving a bucket of prawns in the hot sun. Like, they go off really quickly and become useless in terms of the likelihood of you getting hold of them really, really quickly. So that's method number 1, strategy number 1, idea number 1: call or contact your leads faster. The second one is use a sales framework that converts predictably. Now, you might not have a sales process. A lot of people I speak to don't. You might not have a structured or a process that's been designed with your particular product or service in mind, with your industry in mind. What I can tell you is that when I work with clients and we put together these sales processes that are customized for their particular product, customized for their particular business, and customized for their particular industry and the person that they're talking to, they become the most coveted system in their business. We create these sales processes, and it's the last thing that the client will ever share in terms of the philosophy behind it with the wider part. So they really just try to make sure that it's contained within their salespeople. So I teach it to the salespeople, but these systems become so valuable, and the business owners become really cagey in terms of who they actually want to teach these processes that we develop to, especially someone that they suspect might leave and go and set up in competition. So having, and obviously this is something that will take a bit longer. If you go back and listen to if you go back and listen to my podcast episodes, there's all sorts of podcast episodes on sales frameworks that convert. The other thing that you can do, of course, is to contact me and become part of the 10-week sales certification program, which I am currently running. I'm about in the middle, but we've got people jumping in at all sorts of different stages along those 10 weeks. So you would be more than welcome to join us. It's a really great bunch of people, and they're all getting fantastic results as a result of being there. So all you need to do is to contact me. Best way to do that is via email, john@john-blake.com.au, or you can contact me if you just do a Google search for John Blake Sales. I'll come up on the first page and you can fill out a contact form. So using a sales framework that converts predictably, it needs to uncover a problem, it needs to uncover a solution, and it needs to have a defined next contact point. So that one takes a little bit longer, but it's still something that if you learned it quickly, you could use that to increase sales within 2 weeks. The last one is the follow-up piece. So we talked about this at the start of today's episode. What you will get when you go to johnblakeaudio.com is you will actually get the exact framework that I work with clients. Like I said, there's 7 leverage points in the process from when the client initially inquires with you to a point where they either buy or they go into a follow-up sequence or they go up into a long-term follow-up sequence. What you will get at johnblakeaudio.com is that follow-up sequence. So what happens after you make an offer to them but they don't buy straight away, it's exactly what to do. So this is literally something that you can go get, learn, and put into practice that can cause a immediate shift in your results once you put it into practice. So as always, thank you so much for listening. And it's my pleasure to bring these podcasts to you, and I really enjoy getting the feedback in terms of the value that you get from it. So appreciate you listening, and I will no doubt talk to you on the next podcast. Cheers.
You've been listening to Master Dealmaker Secrets with John Blake. Subscribe to get more in-depth strategies and maximize your sales process with new episodes every other week. And double your inquiry to sale conversion with the lead flow you already have. Go to johnblakeaudio.com for his exclusive, free, no fluff audio training and companion PDF guide.